someone at the who spoke on the carbon monoxide detectors. One person spoke for 21 minutes on carbon monoxide detectors. You didn't say one word about them. You didn't say one thing about it. You didn't say one thing. It's just relevant. It's just relevant. We celebrated African History Month 2 months ago in February. The theme was a quote by Nelson Mandela: "Changing the world through education." I believe in that wholeheartedly. Yet, I spoke on the comprehensive annual financial report, which would educate residents so they can know what their government is doing. I made the quote by Ronald Reagan, who also believes, when you're done, who believes that the people should decide what their government does. Why don't we put our comprehensive annual report online? Because you said you don't want to buy into my numbers, but I showed you this at the last meeting. This is a page, undoctored, from the comprehensive annual financial report that shows that the tax levy, that's a real property tax excluding commissioner-operated districts, went from $182,528,000 to $264,490,000 from 2003 to 2012, which comes out to 45% increase. What I'm asking you is, will you help educate residents by putting the comprehensive annual financial report online, putting the town board meetings online, when there are bond resolutions that affect particular districts, particular people, send a mailing out, or at least send emails out and let people know. I didn't even get an email about the Franklin Square Park District, and I signed up for that. I didn't get an email notifying me of the bond resolution for the town, the hamlet I live in. Can you promise me that you're going to do this in the future? Will you promise that you will educate residents? Will you promise? So you're saying no. You're saying you don't believe in what Mandela said. You said it was a very moving statement, but you don't really believe in it. So you're ignoring my question. You don't want to answer. Just say no. If you feel no is the correct answer, say no. You don't want to educate people. Because we just talk here, right? Councilman Goodspeed, we don't really mean what we say. When we say we really believe in Nelson Mandela, we don't believe what he says. We just believe because it sounds good in front of the cameras. Is that true? Yes. Okay, we don't talk to you. Supervisor Murray, do you believe in this, or do you just want to say it? You want to just ignore me?
Hello. Let me just start after watching what appears to be like a circus in this room every 2 weeks. There's a lot that can be learned from the way North Hempstead operates their town board meetings and how they conduct themselves and how they actually record their town board meetings. When you talk about theatrics, Councilman Santino, there are no theatrics. There's no one from communications whispering in ears, giving the answers, who may be running the entire town, as a matter of fact. So they have nothing to hide. And when you speak about being so proud of certain issues and certain resolutions, Councilman Santino, you should be proud to all of the taxpayers, not to the 3 public residents and taxpayers that are here at these meetings. This is shameful to me. And the only people giggling in this room are the ones that are having their pockets lined. And it's the exact reason why I didn't accept the job, because I couldn't be bought, because I believe in democracy. And how dare you not record these meetings and put them on for the taxpayers to see and feed into them. Record them, put them online, but that's not sufficient. I was told that room in the back was originally built to put the town board meetings over the airwaves and the radio. So what is that room being used for at this point? Okay, so and then well, the public is misinformed in general. The public is fed information that you want them to hear and to know. And in the same way that I was a resident and a Republican for many years, I believed those mailings. I didn't even know, I wasn't aware that these town board meetings existed. So how dare you talk about pride and about any kind of transparency when you refuse to have these meetings put online? And if you want to prove something to the residents and you want to be fair to the residents, these meetings should be recorded, videotaped, and put online for everyone to see. You spoke last time about the civil service and whatnot, and Mr. Salmon, and that's a mockery as well, because people are led to believe they can put their application in Hempstead, when in reality, you're plucking off people and employees off of that list that have relatives and friends that need jobs, and those jobs are shoved to whoever is director of that particular department.
Well, the trend, if you have issues, maybe you and Mr. Procacci can once again run again as political candidates.
I have no issue. I have no regrets. I went into that campaign. If you'd like to speak about the campaign, well, thank you for the invitation. I've already been approached. I'm approached constantly. I have no problem with running. That.
The interest of transparency that you always are so eloquent speaking about, and Mr. Procacci speaks about transparency. For those who don't attend these meetings regularly, sometimes we neglect to say, but it is fact, and they never mention it, these individuals, Mr. Procacci, is an advocate candidate of the Democratic Party in the last election. That is Mr. Procacci for Hempstead Town Supervisor, and that is the Democratic Party's candidate for one of the town board seats. So these are not simply disinterested citizens. They clearly have proven that they have a partisan political agenda, and what they say here, while they may talk about transparency, and they hold that up.
Would you like to sit here? Go right ahead.
They hold that up as their goal. They're never transparent because they never, ever indicate that they cast partisan activity in the last election.
Well, what's interesting here is that before I became a candidate, I was coming to these town board meetings making these same statements. So I don't know how you can reply to that. Really not quite sure that normally when you're threatened, you keep bringing something up. I feel threatened as a resident that I'm not being informed.
When someone gets up on a soapbox with a holier than thou attitude about transparency, and they never mention that they were candidates of the Democratic Party in the last election, that needs to be told, particularly the individuals who are at these meetings for the first time.
Okay.
They need to understand the come of this with their partisan political agenda.
Okay.
You never mention it, and in all honesty, I just failed to mention it in the last couple of meetings. I'm not going to fail to mention it anymore. I'm going to mention it every time you get up.
Well, it'd be my pleasure. In fact, if you'd like, I will mention that. I have no issue with that. That would be great. And I have absolute, I'm very, no, what would be transparent would be if you recorded these town board meetings and sifted them into people's homes. That would be transparent. That's transparency. This is not transparency when you call these public hearings, but there are very few members of the public here. And again, just like with Mr. Procacci, this isn't about me. I sat here, and it's the same way when I sat at the animal shelter and I saw all of the corruption there. And little did I know that that was not limited just to one small department. It wasn't until we filed a lawsuit and we sat through these meetings that corruption is entrenched in every department in this town. And that's the issue here. No, what that is that's a good taxpayer platform. Because you have a responsibility to the taxpayers. You have an obligation to the taxpayers, and you're not fulfilling it. The residents are voting with what's being shoved down their throats and who has enough and the most money. They're being deceived. And that's the case. And if you disagreed with me, then prove me wrong and put your town board meetings online. I think the residents are not educated, and that's the problem. Because the only education you're giving these residents is what you want them to believe, and your perspective. And that's really very common of a con artist, because a con artist will try to force their perspective down your throat. And that's what's taking place here. If you can answer I'm not finished. If you could answer my question in regard... Excuse me? Okay. I still have a question to ask in regards to the animal shelter. I'd like to know if the veterinarian exam has been released at this point yet. Nothing? Was not released? Thank you. Have a nice day.